If someone gave you a magic lamp with a genie, your own genie, and you could ask that genie to give you whatever you want that will help you to enjoy your life more, doesn't that sound good? Yeah. What would you ask for? Now, you don't have to say it out loud, but I want you to note it in your mind. What would you ask for from that genie with infinite power who could give you whatever you want for you to have a more fulfilled life? What would you ask for? Now, are you writing down, noticing something in your mind of what you would ask for? Maybe you're writing it down on a piece of paper. Right. Now, I know that it's very likely you have done that kind of thing before. This is my guess, is that you've done that kind of thing before in your lifetime. I know how many of you have done that before, where you've written down what you want in your life. I have, and that's a great step because a lot of people never even think of doing that. But, as a lot of people teach, clarity is power, and knowing what you want and so on helps you be focused, helps you say no to certain things and yes to others, and to be focused. And I believe there's a place for that. There's a place for that. Now, is this a good way to begin a message? I don't know, but let's just talk about it for a second. So those things that you wrote down, a lot of people would write down what? I would like a life partner. I would like a soulmate. If I just had some special person in my life, then I would be able to enjoy my life more. Right? Or if I could just have some more money, maybe, hey, I'll take $1 million, or maybe $10 million or whatever it is, right? That's what I write. If I just had that, then I would have freedom, and I would, I'd have all kinds of stuff. And the list could go on. A promotion. If I could have that ideal job that I love, I'd be passionate about. It would be so meaningful. I'd come in, I'd do that job, and it would be so wonderful. If I could be famous, if I could walk down the street, people would know who I am, and they'd say, hey, I saw that movie you did. It was great. Wonderful job. What are you doing next? Okay? So how many of us can relate to some of that stuff? Right? And a lot of people are going to write that down because that's the culture we live in. That's how we've been conditioned. So as I said, is this a way to start a talk? I don't know, but we're going to do it anyway. We've been doing a series now. We're on week number 4 of the book Living Untethered by Michael Singer. He was the New York Times bestselling author of The Untethered Soul and The Surrender Experiment, both great books. Living Untethered sort of goes even deeper. And so we're talking about the next step today, the human predicament. Human predicament. And he points out, as a lot of great spiritual sages have over the ages, spiritual sages through the ages, they have said, what if instead of that, it's not the stuff that you really want. It's not the relationship, the soulmate that you really want. What it is that you really want is what that would give you. Right? What would that give you? Oh, I would feel this love. That's what I want. I want this beautiful feeling, this connection, this love, being in this unconditional love all the time. It would be so enjoyable, et cetera, right? It's not the $10 million, it's the freedom, it's the security, it's the this and that and the other thing, right? It's an inner state that we want. It's something inside that we want. That's what the great saints and sages keep reminding us, telling us about. And that's what we're talking about in the human predicament. Is, as he points out, why pray and visualize and affirm or whatever the partner or the $1 million? Why not go right to what it is that it'll give you? Why not seek the unconditional love itself? Right? What if you could have a continual flow of unconditional love inside yourself? Would that be cool or what? Would that be good or what? Now that doesn't mean you don't have a relationship, but it's going to be a very different kind of relationship, isn't it? Because now you're not looking for the relationship to replace something that feels missing inside of you. See, that's the human predicament, as Singer points out. The human predicament is, as we said in number 1, you're in there. You're in there, right? How many of you are in there? Of course, I'm in there. How do I know I'm in there? Because I heard you ask, are you in there? And I answered, yes, I'm in here. Okay, good. That's a very high realization. You're in there. And you're part of a 3-ring circus. What's the 3-ring circus? The world comes in and it touches you. That's one ring of the circus. It comes in, you're aware of it, it touches you. The second ring of the 3-ring circus is you have thoughts. You that's in there are the subject. The world is the object. It comes in. You in there are the experiencer. The world comes in and you experience it. The second ring are your thoughts. Thoughts are an object. You're the subject, thoughts are an object. Right? You have thoughts. You can create thoughts, and thoughts come in automatically, which we talked about a few weeks ago. And then, what else do you have? You have feelings. World comes in, you have feelings. And often it all gets all together, you know, something happens, it comes in, it causes thoughts, it causes feelings. And instead of being in that state of being the observer and the experiencer and just letting it flow in and flow out and letting it touch you deeply and you grow from the experience, instead we get distracted by the thing in the outer world. We get distracted by the thoughts. We get distracted by the emotions. We get caught up in them and then we get lost, right? Then the whole sense that I'm in here, we lose that because now we're out in all this other stuff, right? And we're not okay inside. That's the human predicament. And the human predicament is, throughout our life, things have been happening and they've been coming in, and some of the things we like. Oh, I love that. I love that, and we cling to it. I want more of that. So there's something inside of us that says, I like that. And then there's other experiences that come in that are uncomfortable because the world is made up of different vibrations. The world, the yin and yang, is made up of things that feel nice and things that feel uncomfortable. That's the reality that we live in. And so, growing up, certain things came in that were uncomfortable, and we said, I don't like that. That frightens me. That's uncomfortable. I don't want to experience that. And the very resisting of it holds it in our consciousness. It's what the Buddhists call a samskara, a packet of energy that we resist. It's why the great sages like Jesus said, resist not. Because what you resist, fill in the blank, right? What you resist persists. Why? Because you can't push it out of your consciousness. What you push out stays in. Oh, shoot. Oh, my. Yep, that's what happens. So, consequently, we've developed a self-concept around what we like and what we dislike. I'm the person who likes this, and I'm the person who doesn't like this. And so the human predicament is, I'm not fulfilled inside myself. I need certain things to be, which I just put on my list to the great genie, that I need certain things to happen that will match the things inside of me that I like and will help me to avoid the things inside of me that I don't like. Because if you think about it, if in the past something happened that you didn't like, you resisted, and you felt uncomfortable about, and you said, oh, I don't like that. Now when something else comes up that's similar to that, oh my God, I don't want to experience that. That's what worry is. Worry is, what if I don't get what I want to match the things that I like inside? And what if I get something that's like the stuff I don't like, and then it brings up all those uncomfortable feelings inside? That's the human predicament. The human predicament. Oy vey. Anybody want to join me in saying oy vey? Oy vey's mere. Yes. And now the human predicament is, I'm struggling to get everything to match the way I like things to be, and I'm struggling to prevent the things that I don't want to happen, that I don't like. Human predicament. Life for me is a struggle, constant struggle. Well, the circus is a good one. Can you see the plates, this plate spinner, and they're keeping the plate spinning, and you're trying to keep the life the way you want it to be, so, and prevent things from happening. All right, the predicament. So, as Singer points out, why not just go, instead of trying to get everything to be the way you want it to be and prevent it from being the way you don't like it to be, what if you just go to the root and seek that flow inside yourself of the love that you want, the joy that you want, the passion that you want. He says, a lot of people talk about, if I won't do the job I'm passionate about, I want to do the career I'm passionate about. I've been there. He says, I want you to be passionate about everything. It doesn't matter what you're doing. Sweeping the floor, doing the dishes, whatever it is. Because you are in tune with the flow of passion. About everything. Now, why doesn't that happen? It doesn't happen because we've got these blockages inside of us that we've been storing throughout our lifetime that are in there. They're packets of energy that have been repressed. Freud knew all about this, didn't he? He talked about it. And it's like a river. Imagine a river flowing, and it flows freely. But if there's junk in the river, what happens? If there's rocks in the rivers, there are branches in the river, what happens? It creates whirlpools, and it has to flow around these rocks. And that's kind of what's going on inside of us. We're seeking outer experiences that match the stuff we like, and then the river of energy can flow around the other blockages, and then, oh, I feel good by that. See, that's going on all the time. What if we could just clear out the river blockages and just have a nice flow all the time? How many of you would like that? Somebody said, amen. JC, I have come that my joy might be in you and that your joy might be what? Full. Full. That you might sit at the right hand of the Father as I do. What does he mean by that? He means that you might experience this incredible awareness that I'm living in. Unblocked. Free flow. Blessed are the pure in heart. So here's the challenge, see? I know this is something we got to talk about a lot because we're so conditioned to the other stuff. Let's say, hey, again, it doesn't mean you don't have a relationship. You have an even more beautiful relationship, right? Because now you're not getting a partner because you feel lack inside yourself. You're getting a partner to share your love with. You're so full of love that you just want to share it. And you're so full of light that people are attracted to it. That's a very different place, isn't it? That's a very different place. That's coming from a place of wholeness. And that applies to everything in the world. You know, do our actions come from a place of, I'm filled up from within? Or do they come from, I'm so angry about that, I'm going to go out and do something to change it? No, you're not. You're doing it because you're trying to make yourself feel better. You're uncomfortable with what's going on inside your heart, and you're trying to make it so that your heart feels better. Wouldn't it be much more cleaner if that's not the reasons for our actions? No, I'm doing this because I want to help. I want to lift things up. I'm not doing it to make myself feel better. I'm doing it because I want to be of service. That's very different, right? So as he points out, let's go back to our Aladdin list, our genie list. Say, hey, you get that? You're like, okay, I want to have the ideal wedding, right? I want to get married in Hawaii and on the beach, and I want to have, this mortgage-free house on the ocean, and have a couple of beautiful cars in the driveway, and it's just going to be awesome, with a wonderful groom or bride, and it's just going to be great. Doesn't it sound good? Doesn't it sound good? Hey, it sounds like a romantic comedy, doesn't it? We love those, especially in the 80s. We love those romantic comedies. And so then what happens? What happens? What happens if the person that they marry is a jerk? Turns out to be a jerk. You want the wedding now? You want that wedding? I know I shouldn't be watching shows like this, but I watched the British Scandal, a show, I think it's Netflix or something, or Prime, the British Scandal. And I'm just kidding when I say I shouldn't watch those shows. I watch whatever I want to watch. But anyway, it's about the Duchess of Argyll marrying the Duke of Argyll, thank you. One of those D words in there. Yeah, the Duke of Argyll, right? And, he's charming, and they're on the plane, and they connect, and they laugh. And next thing you know, they're getting together. And she's now the Duchess of Argyll. Everything looks great. And then this big estate, true story, apparently. And what happens? He turns out to be a real jerk. And marries her for her money. And tells her so. Yeah, it's a good one if you like that kind of stuff. So that's the point, right? And we keep being reminded of it over and over and over and over and over. And the law of economics says, then you have something, it starts to lose its meaning and value to you. The law of diminishing returns, right? You get it, and then what? Psychology says the same thing. It's called a law of adaptation. You get the new, decorate the apartment, and it's looking great, and you're feeling terrific, and, after a while, let's build another part of it. Let's get a new refrigerator, let's get a new stove, whatever it is, right? It's just one thing leads to another. There's always more. We always got to have something else pops up that we got to have. So, as he says, why not go right to the root source? Go right to the source. Why not start to, he says you have this choice. Here's the choice. This is a huge, very important thing to understand. We're either going to choose to keep trying to make the outer world be the way we want it to be in order to feel fulfilled and okay inside, or we're going to focus on getting rid of the blockages that are preventing us from experiencing that beautiful divine flow within us. The Old Testament says you either serve, you serve God or you serve mammon. It's sort of symbolic of where's our focus? Where's our focus? So the wise sage has decided, you know what? Been there, done that. Got the badge, got the trophy. I would like to focus on freeing up my energy system, my energy body, whatever you want to call it, the flow inside of me. I want to unblock the energy centers, the chakras, and I want to live in a continual flow of love and joy and peace and happiness, and I want to live my life from that place. And I know from that place, then I can share it with other people. Then I'm not, needy about, well, why is he looking at her like that, I'm not insecure. Oh my God, look at the boss. Look on the boss's face. What did I do? There are layoffs going around. Watch my back over here. Now you're coming from a place of security and peace because you're okay inside. What does it mean to be okay inside? What does it mean to be okay inside? It means to be in touch with what the sages call Satchidananda. Satchidananda, conscious eternal bliss. Conscious eternal bliss. Going right to the source. He says, if a person has a stomach ache from eating bad food, and they're going to go get some Pepto-Bismol, that really tasty, delicious stuff, to make their stomach feel better, right? That makes sense, right? But that's different if someone says, the solution is not the Pepto-Bismol. That's to get rid of the symptoms. What's the solution? Stop eating the food that's causing you to feel that way, right? So someone who is in a very serious problem in the world today, loneliness, right? A lot of people feel lonely. A lot of people feel lonely. Serious problem. Mother Teresa acknowledged it 25, 30 years ago, in the West particularly. She said people need love more than anything else in the West. Now, today it's even worse. And he says, don't tell me that, you need a partner because you're feeling lonely. You need somebody because you're feeling lonely. That's like saying, I got a stomach ache and I need Pepto-Bismol to cure my stomach ache. No, you need to change how you're eating. You're feeling lonely? You need to unblock yourself and start feeling that love that is inside of you. Start feeling that connection to the source inside of you. Doesn't mean you don't have friends. It doesn't mean you don't have a partner. Again, it doesn't mean that. But it means that you are now in tune with, in the flow of this love that is unconditional. Always inside of us. That is the deepest understanding of spirituality. What we're talking about here is real spirituality. The other has a place. Hey, I'm all for goals. I'm for lists. I'm for that stuff. It helps you focus, helps you not get distracted, helps you to... But doing it thinking that's going to make me be whole, that's a different thing. We're going right to the root today. And I think a lot of books and a lot of teachings, they're talking about your goals and get this and get that, but they're coming from they're missing the deeper point of it, which is what are you trying to make up for in yourself with that? Let's go right to the root and let's get rid of that stuff that's holding us back. Last week we talked a little bit about the heart. Let's touch on the heart a little more this morning. And here's the challenge with the heart. One is, how many of you have a heart? You got a heart in there? Yeah, you got a heart in there, right? Hey, that's an amazing gift, is it not? Your heart is an amazing, amazing gift. You got an orchestra going on inside of you. Right? You appreciate this heart that's there. We're not talking about the organ, of course. It's constantly working for us. But we're talking about that spiritual heart that's inside of you, that feel stuff. Right? If you don't have a heart, life would be very boring, wouldn't it? It's like a movie without a score going on. You know, it would be very flat. The music sort of gets you in a minute. You know, it's a horror movie. The music matches. What does that do? It heightens your heart, your feeling, right? Your heart heightens your experience of life. And that heart can take you to the depths of despair, to the height of ecstasy. Your heart does that. My heart does that. That's a gift. That heart can do amazing things. It's doing it all the time. Amazing things. The problem is, and you knew this was coming, right? The problem is that we have said there's certain things in life that I don't want to feel in my heart. We've said, I only want to feel certain things in my heart, and I don't want to feel other things. And there's stuff stuck in our heart where we had these experiences that we loved feeling, and we had experiences that we didn't like feeling. And so we said, I don't like that. I don't want to feel that. Now we're walking around trying to protect all that, trying to make it a certain way so that we only feel what we want to feel, trying to avoid and prevent anything from happening that we don't want to feel. And a lot, especially metaphysical folks, a lot of people are intellectualized. They jump from their heart right to their head because they don't want to feel, right? They don't want to feel. So, he'll be okay. He's in heaven now. He's in heaven now. You didn't let yourself grieve. You didn't let yourself feel sad. You went right to your head. Oh, it's God's will. He's in heaven now. What about feeling the grief that's there? What about the sadness that's there? This is the amazing thing about the heart. The heart, if we let reality come in and we let it touch our heart, we will experience the appropriate emotions that fit the reality in which we live. That's a very important point. I think there's a bunch of spiritual teachings that sort of take you out of matching the reality that you're experiencing and get you to think about some other reality. This is not real. The only reality is there's harmony and peace in the universe and da-da-da-da-da-da. Well, that can take you into your head and numb you out. Right? You're driving down the interstate, there's a horrible crash or something. Well, there's only harmony in the universe and God is in charge and blah, 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 blah. Well, what about the natural feeling of whatever comes into your heart, which is, oh my goodness. Those poor people, oh, that's just devastating feeling. Now your heart's matching reality. But I don't want to feel that. That's the problem. That's the problem. People have not learned how to handle whatever comes in. And that is spiritual growth. That is spiritual growth. The spiritual sage is open to whatever comes into their reality, knowing that whatever it is that comes into their heart, they can handle. They can handle. Because they won't lose themselves in their heart. They're not going to express it and get all, out and get caught up in the emotion. They're not going to get all, I got to express my emotion. They're not going to get lost in all their emotion. And they're not going to deny their emotion. It's going to come in reality. It's going to touch them. And they're going to experience a feeling that's in harmony with what's actually happening in the world around them, and it's going to flow through them, and they're going to respond from whatever is appropriate to that situation. That is spiritual mastery. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about learning how to handle our hearts, learning how to unblock ourselves so that we have this free flow of spirit inside of us all the time. And you know what? Don't start with the big things. Start with the little things. Start with the little things. Start with the phone that rings during the Sunday service. You know, start with whatever it is, you know, and learn how to, you know, be okay with that. You know, yeah, you know. How to be okay with that. Not let it bother you, you know, because especially when it rings several times and they don't even answer it, you know. Don't let it bother you. How dare they do that? Don't they know it's a Sunday service and I've come here and I've turned my phone off and they didn't turn their phone off. What's the world coming to? Blah, 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 blah. Bothering ourselves, right? We're bothering ourselves. It's no big deal. We're on a planet floating in the middle of nowhere. There ain't nothing going on anywhere else. And we're here with a party and sometimes phones go off. Next week, we're going to talk more about, okay, we hear you. It's not about trying to make everything out here to be the way I want it to be. And it's not about trying to prevent things from happening I don't want to happen. It's about me unblocking myself. It's about letting myself start to find that inner joy and love. It's not even finding, it's allowing. It's letting it flow. It's stop blocking it from happening. This is what it's all about, and it's learning how to let reality come in, touch me at a deep level, and then flow through me. And because of that, I grow, and I'm enriched from the experience. You know, there's no bad thing. It's reality. It comes in, it touches me, and I grow. I become a bigger person because of it. So now there's no resistance to life. There's no denying of life. I'm living in it, but I'm not of it because I'm staying in the seat of awareness. I'm aware that I'm in here. I'm not my thoughts. I'm not my feelings. I'm not the outer world, but I'm aware and I experience it as it flows in. And I start with the little things. And we're going to talk about that more next week. What can we do to do what we're talking about here today? But for now, I challenge you to think about, what are you living for? What are you committed to? Are you committed to changing the world to try to be the way you think you need it to be okay? Or are you committed to unblocking yourself so that you can be okay by being in tune with the Satchidananda, eternal conscious bliss, unconditional love, unconditional joy of your true self? Let's get still. Well, we thank you, Father, Mother God, for your presence and activity in our life. We're grateful for this teaching that has revealed itself to us at the right and perfect time. We're grateful for these new steps of spiritual evolution, of understanding. And we're open and receptive to a greater flow of your love, your joy, your peace that passes all understanding. Thank you for this truth. Thank you for guiding and directing us and showing us the way. As he said, you shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. And so it is. Amen.